Thank you so much to everyone for joining the call today. We are going to present the Students Reinventing Cities competition in Johannesburg, which is super exciting. This is the first time the city has participated in the competition. And yeah, we're really excited to see so many of you joining today. Just a few housekeeping rules. So here you can see the agenda of today's call. So I am Ellie, I work for C40 Cities, and I'm just going to present a little bit about the competition. Um, we also have a presentation from the lovely Matimba from the city of Joburg, who's going to present the site in competition. And then we will have time for a Q&A. So you will see that there is a Q&A button just at the bottom. I invite you to type any questions that you have throughout the presentation in the Q&A box, and then we've got some dedicated time at the end to address those. So don't be shy. Yeah, feel free to type in the Q&A box. And I think with that, we're going to go ahead and get started. Just a note, and I forgot to say this webinar will be recorded, and the recording and the slides will be shared with you afterwards. So don't worry about that. Okay, great. So I'm just going to go ahead and start. Like I mentioned, my name is Ellie. I work for C40 Cities, of which the city of Johannesburg is part of one of the almost 100 world-leading cities that we've got connected in our network. We're basically a network of mayors that are united in action under the aim of basically taking action in all our different cities to combat the impacts of the climate crisis. This is obviously felt in many different ways in various different cities. They're facing different challenges, and the ways that we can tackle that are through, multiple different work streams. So at C40, we work on water and climate resilience. We work on transport in cities and how that impacts quality of life and impacts emissions. And we also have the urban planning and design team, which is really thinking about the way that cities are planned and designed and how that could be done better or slightly modified to have a better impact on the climate and also improve the lives of people and inhabitants of cities themselves. So as you can see here, we collectively represent just about 20% of the global economy. So you can see the impacts that cities really have. So why cities? Obviously, the climate crisis and the impacts of climate breakdown affect people all across the globe in a variety of different ways. But cities are very significant because they occupy, as you can see here, 2% of the world's landmass, but they actually consume around 75% of the world's energy and create over 70% of energy-related greenhouse gas emissions. So even though cities are quite small in terms of surface area, the impact they have is really significant, and cities can often be, more flexible than national governments in terms of the action and solutions they can make. So although, we might be part of the problem, we're definitely a huge part of the solution. And that's why we're really working with cities to kind of take the immediate action needed, often at a more innovative and quicker scale than we can do at national level. Really nice also to see so many of you typing in the chat where you're joining from today. Always love reading them, so please do pop a message in there. So on urban planning and design, cities, I would say this is kind of at the core of urban climate action. The way that cities have been planned and designed, particularly in the previous century, has led to a real dependence on needing a car to navigate through a city. Oftentimes, neighborhoods have become really specialized. So we have like a neighborhood that's a commercial district or a residential district. And actually, what we're noticing now is we need to rethink this urban model in a way that we can have, more services accessible to us that we're able to walk to or cycle to, for example. And actually, this might have a really positive impact on health and well-being, but also it will have a positive impact on the environment. So as you can see here, the latest statistic by the IPCC stated that integrated spatial planning, so thinking about, a different urban layout that focuses on mixed-use buildings, maybe, transit-oriented development, and a more of a proximity approach, so having facilities closer and more accessible to you, could actually reduce greenhouse gas emissions by approximately 25% by 2050. So if you think about the impact that that could actually have in, about 25 years, to be able to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 25% in cities is actually a very significant reduction. So we're so happy that we've got so many cities within our network that are really, committed to thinking about the way that we redesign our cities in a way that has both beneficial solutions that benefit, the planet and our emissions, but also people, and thinking about ways that cities can be redesigned to actually improve, health and well-being for us, people that live in cities. So, Students Reinventing Cities is a C40 competition that basically brings together this kind of focus and momentum around urban planning and design in cities with students and young people. So, obviously, we oftentimes have lots of very innovative and creative ideas, and we really want this competition to be a space to connect cities and what they're doing in urban planning and design with the ideas that students and young people have. It's so important when we're thinking about the design of our cities that we consider and actually integrate the viewpoints of, the younger generation, because ultimately these are going to be the cities that we are living in, that we're working in, and our vision really needs to be at the forefront of how we design cities going forward. So the competition works as follows. So cities within our network, so we have almost 100 cities in the C40 network. Some of those cities participating decide, on an urban area in the city that they would like to transform and revitalize, so that they're seeking, new ways, new solutions, and new ways of approaching the design of this area. We C40 coordinate the overall competition, and then we open it up to you guys, students at universities or young people, to submit your ideas and solutions to regenerate this area, and then we connect them with the city. So we say, here are the designs that young people have. Can you take a look and listen to these? So who can enter? So this competition is open to university students of any age and discipline. So you could be, an undergraduate student, you could be a master's student, you could be an architecture and urbanism student, but actually you may also have a background in, arts or social sciences. And we really encourage that. I think anyone can get involved in urban planning and design. And actually, sometimes the best collaborations are where you bring people from different backgrounds or different understandings, that can actually oftentimes make for the best projects. We're also open as a competition to young people aged 18 to 28. So whether you are, for example, a recent graduate or you haven't gone to university, but you're interested in this challenge, we really invite you to get involved. The competition is also open to local and international participants. So whether you're based in the city of Joburg or you are from there, but now you're living somewhere else, or even if you have never been to the city, we really invite you to engage with this topic and the themes of kind of proximity planning and transit-oriented development. And we really want to share a range of views here. And as you can see at the bottom, there are no maximum number of team members. Obviously, I advise you to limit the team somewhat so that you're able to, be able to communicate with each other and share everyone's ideas, but there is no official maximum number. So obviously today we are here to talk about Johannesburg and the sighting competition, but I would just like to share that we have 17 cities in the competition this year. This is the third year that we're running this competition. So even though we've got a very local focus, I would like you to feel part of very much a global movement of cities that are working to engage with students and young people across the globe. And actually, the more times that we can do initiatives like this, we can really be part of driving the change and getting more cities involved and connecting more young people and cities together. So definitely, local focus, but very much a global movement. And here you can just see some of the successes of the competition. So we really work to give kind of global media coverage and really elevate your ideas on our C40 global platform. Winners in the past have had the opportunity to do TEDx talks and official C40 videos. They've even had the chance to present their work to the mayor or to city officials or even to their universities. So we really want to kind of, amplify your ideas and create opportunities for you to share them both locally and globally. So just a comment on the approach that we advocate through this competition. We're really all about, and I'm sure you'll hear more about this from Matimba and the city later, basically taking the idea of a monocentric city, so having these separate neighborhoods, this one commercial hub that's you can only get to via car, and basically making the neighborhoods and the communities themselves like the center of, a thriving place, a community. So thinking about a mix of people in these areas, a mix of uses, and also actually providing high quality public spaces for people to enjoy. This is a concept that has many different names, as you can see on the side. At C40, we like to call this the green and thriving approach, which is basically the idea that how we think about designing cities could be both green, so thinking about, how can we boost climate resilience? How can we take into account some of the climate challenges that the city is facing and design urban spaces that are resilient to those? And also, how can we think about, clean construction practices or boosting green cover, for example? But also, how can places be thriving? So, how can we think about the people that are currently living there and that they are involved in this process and that they welcome it and that they actually will, benefit from these design interventions? So, for example, they're able to get around somewhere more easily and accessibly, that everyone feels welcome in these spaces, that they're able to access the essential facilities that they need. This is essentially just kind of the proximity model. And I would like to note that we at C40 have identified 10 principles to help you think about this concept. I will share the guidance document that we've developed in the chat, and I'll also send it as a resource in my follow-up to you all, along with the recording and slides. You don't need to address all of these 10 principles in your projects, but an understanding of the kind of overall framework and maybe directly addressing a couple of them is really beneficial to your project and is actually something that we will look at in the scoring criteria. So when you're coming up with a way to reimagine the area and the site that we'll hear about in just a moment, what we'll be looking for in your projects are four things. So one, how well have you considered the city's redevelopment expectations and priorities? So I know, for example, for the site in competition, there's a focus on how this area could be developed into a transit-oriented community. So how well you respond to that objective that the city has outlined. We'll also look at your response to the green and thriving approach. So how have your solutions considered, climate resilience, as well as improving quality of life for residents? We'll also look at the quality of your team, and we'll look at the feasibility of your project. So I know this competition is all about balancing new and innovative ways of thinking about design with feasibility. So actually providing a costing analysis, a timeline, so that, how could this idea actually be taken forward to implementation, really thinking about how we can take this idea from a concept and a design to actually those next steps. So definitely balancing those two objectives is very important for this competition. So what's required in your project? It consists of 4 documents. And again, this is all available on the website. And we actually have a competitions regulations document, which outlines exactly what your project should consist of. And again, I will share this with you afterwards. So don't worry about noting all this down. But essentially, it consists of 4 things. So a team form where you explain how you work together, a project proposal where you outline your overall design concept, and then a graphic presentation, as well as an implementation plan. So, how you complied with local regulations, planning laws and restrictions, as well as considered, budget timeframes, etc. Just a note on what you'll win. So obviously, you'll receive a lovely signed certificate. But also, what we're really keen to do on our end, sorry, is promote your work as much as possible in kind of local and global communications campaigns. And we'll work with the city to provide opportunities potentially to present your work to city officials or leading kind of experts or industries in the sector. And I'll invite Matimba later to comment on some of the city-specific opportunities that may be offered to the winning team. Just a note on all the kind of guidance and things that we have available. So I'd highly invite you, if you haven't already, taken a look at our website. So we have kind of 2 main resources. We have the overall competition framework and guidance, which you can find on our application guidelines page. And then for each site in competition, we offer specific information. So we have a site form that outlines, the main area, the challenges, etc. And we also have a data room, which is a Google Drive folder, which contains more kind of technical materials like any regulations or images or maps. So I really invite you to consult those resources when developing your project. And this is just what the website looks like. This is where you'll find the information. So definitely take some time to navigate that and find those resources. Okay, so just a note on timeline. So the deadline to register your team is the 21st of March, which I think is about 3 weeks away. Just a note on that timeline. The registration is like phase 1. So it's quite an easy step. Basically, you just need to outline who's part of your team. And so we have it on record. You don't need to submit your project until the 20th of June. So you've actually got about 3 months between phase 1 and phase 2. But in order to submit your project, you do need to have registered. So please be aware of the 21st of March and maybe spend, the next couple of weeks thinking about who you'd like to be in your team. It's worth noting that your team can change. So say, you register with 10 people on the 21st of March, and then, you lose 3, but then 2 other people want to join. That's completely fine. You can outline that, but just a note that, 21st of March for that initial registration. So this is how you register. You just need to download something called a team form, which I will send to you in the follow-up, but you can find it on the application guidelines page. You need to fill this out, and then to register, you go on the Marlboro Station webpage, you click this button to register your team, and then you upload the form there. It's super simple, but just a reminder, the 21st of March is the date for that. Great, I think that's everything from me. As I mentioned, we'll have some time for Q&As at the end, so please do pop them in the chat if you have any questions. And I'm now super happy to pass over to Matimba from the city. He's going to present the site and competition in more detail.
Thanks, Ellie. And thanks everyone for joining us in making this competition a success. So I'll take you through the selected site on the cities side. Okay. So basically, this is the outline of our presentation, what I'll be taking you through. So I'll introduce the site, the key challenges and expectations from our side, and then also materials that's available online for students to consult, and then next steps that talks about prize opportunities and awards. So as Ellie has mentioned earlier on, that so for us as the city of Johannesburg, we identified site or a site that we need to or we plan to revitalize and transform. So basically Johannesburg being there. So in this year's competition, we have 3 African cities participating out of the 17 that Ellie spoke to earlier on. So Joburg being one of those cities. And zooming into the site. So the site basically is titled or is known as Marlboro Station, and we're looking at the surroundings as well. So basically the selected site.
Sorry, Matimba, are you able to share your screen if you've got some slides prepared?
Okay, I thought I was sharing.
No, it's all right. It's all right.
Okay. Let's see, share screen. Can you see it?
Perfect. And then if you just go to like full screen.
Okay.
Amazing. There we go. Perfect.
There you go. Thanks. As I spoke to the presentation outline, so basically it's the first slide will be introducing the site and then looking at the key challenges facing the area, the city's expectations, material that's online that students will consult when they working on the projects for the competitions, and then the next steps, focusing on the awards, prize opportunities as well. So for the competition on the city side, we had to identify a site that will be transforming and revitalizing. And so Joburg is one of the 3 African cities that are participating in this year's competition, being Addis Ababa in Ethiopia and Freetown in Sierra Leone, and the third being city of Joburg. And then in terms of introducing the site, so the site is known as Marlboro Station, and also the surrounding, referring to you know, like the areas that the city aims to develop in the surrounding areas. That also includes areas such as the Frankenwald, Bergvallei, and Limro Park, and then as well as Alex, where we have, like, you know, housing projects and other projects that will, you know, respond to the climate change mitigation measures. So the selected site is known as portion 1 of the remaining extent of the farm Bergvallei. It is owned by the city of Johannesburg and then managed by JPC. That's Johannesburg Property Company. And so the site is bordered by the Jaskia River to the west, And on the southern edge, that's where the Gautrain station is. So given the fact that the Gautrain infrastructure is a massive investment, so as the city, we need to come up with solutions or development options that come with appropriate densities and intensity. And so in terms of the connectivity and accessibility of the site is situated on the corner of the N3 highway and Marlboro Drive, and it's about 6.2 kilometers east of Senten Node and 20 kilometers north of the Johannesburg CBD. And then also, it is important to highlight that the site is in close proximity to the well-known township of Alexandra. And yeah, so that pushing there, it's Alexandra, Far East Bank, and Sutuetla informal settlement. So zooming into the site that's owned by the city, it's a 14-hectare site. So the images are just to show that the site at the moment is currently vacant. And then looking at the surroundings and also looking at, like the notions or the concept that we'll be speaking to when we respond to, the call. And also when we see the entries that will be coming in. So we'll be looking at, like climate actions, looking at, addressing issues such as, water pollution, and then, and then looking at how infrastructure such as the Gautrain, how we respond to that in terms of like, bringing in developments that are, suited to the surrounding context. And then also limiting the fact that we don't have to, displace people. Let's say people who are living in the informal settlements, then we see how we effectively respond to that, giving them, housing options that they can afford, and then so that they remain, in the surrounding or in the neighborhood. And then looking at the issue of, water pollution and how we respond to that. So this is to mostly to emphasize mostly on the key challenges that's faced by the site. So the study area currently faced with challenges such as the growing formal settlements, land invasion, river pollution, a lack of walkable roads, and then looking at the issue of inadequate housing and amenities. Like you see that the services are provided in an incremental and informal way instead of formalizing some of these amenities. And then that also leads to environmental degradation. And in terms of our expectations as the city, so we expect students to design green and thriving neighborhoods that maximize environmental and social benefits as per our City of Johannesburg climate action plan that was approved in 2021. So the overall design entries basically must advocate for a transit-oriented polycentric city development model with complete and self-reliant neighborhoods. So that speaks to what the objectives of the SDFs are. So in a nutshell, basically, we are aiming to explore how a TOD with an emphasis of climate resilience will be like a catalyst to address, the challenges faced by the selected site. So I won't emphasize or like go in detail in terms of the principles that Eli has spoken to. So basically, we chose TOD with an emphasis of green projects and seeing how that responds to the mitigation of climate change. And in terms of materials that are available online, so we have the competition framework, we have uploaded maps and cadastral boundaries. We also have a site form that explains, that gives you like an overview of the site and what we expect as the city. And then we have the urban planning documents and guidelines referring to the policy documents and projects that, will inform most of the designs that will come through, and additional planning documents. So basically, for this part, it will be mostly document that, like we add incrementally as we see fit, or as requested. If you feel like there's more documents from the city side that we have to include, even if like it's not policies that are like main guiding or strategic documents for the city. So I included the link here just to show you like how you can access this material. Yeah, so basically it will take you to the landing page, and from the landing page you get this interactive map where you can click the city or the city in which you wish to participate in. And for us, it will be a Marlboro station, and then it takes you to the main page for the city of Johannesburg. And then it shows you like what we have or what we have uploaded there. And then for documentation, as Eli has spoken to this, so you can click on these links then to access the information that's online. And then in terms of next steps, so in terms of the milestones and deliverables, so the red here indicates where we are, or like, the next deadline being the 21st of March, where we expect, that the teams who are interested in participating in these will, put their registrations through. And then you will have 3 months to work on your project, and then you submit in June. And then we select the projects in July, and then we announce winners in September, October. And so Eli spoken to this. So on our side, basically, we will be looking at like the implementation consideration of the projects that we see that are, are coming up with, tangible solutions for the city in terms of addressing, like the climate change issues, and also addressing the environmental degradation in the study area and the surroundings. And then also there are possibilities of, being placed in an internship within any department within the city that deals with most of the projects that will be coming through. And then also you get an opportunity to exhibit your work for the city officials and C40 facilitators. Yeah, so that's about it on our side. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Matimba. I hope all of you found that useful. I know I did. And yeah, please take a look at the chat because I've shared some of the links that Matimba was referring to. So I think that now we're going to go into a Q&A. So obviously we have the Q&A box, which you're welcome to type into. And you're also welcome to raise your hand and I can unmute you. So I know already we actually have someone with their hand raised. So I'm going to unmute that person and invite you to ask your question. And yeah, Matimba, I think you can probably stop sharing your screen now,
Okay.
and we will go over to the questions. So let me just find this person. Hello. Um, hello, hi. Yeah, feel free to ask your question if you can. I see that you're unmuted, but if not, please just type it and we can address it that way. Maybe having some like connection problems. No worries
Yeah.
at all. We can come back to you later. Um, Hi there. I see we've got another person with their hand raised. Ah, okay, I seem to be having some struggling. Seem to be struggling with the hand raising. But I know we've had a few questions come through in the chat. Um, so I know that someone had asked. I have two questions. In the site documentation available for download, there are no files in the folder technical assessments and additional material. Can you please confirm?
Hello.
So, oh, hello.
Oh, hi. Sorry, I had my hand raised. I had a question with regarding materials for the development. I want to know, will these materials be something that we're going to take inspiration from regarding the materiality that we see on site, or will it be something like different types of materials that would be sourced from outside? Obviously, having to also be sustainable enough to be recognized for the future development of the site.
Matimba, did you want to take that one?
Thank you. So basically the material that we have online, basically it's the policies and regulations. So basically you are allowed, to like, look at, case studies and precedents, that are like, speaking to the guidelines of like what you'll be proposing. So basically you're not limited to what we have uploaded there. So during the course of, like from the launch till the deadline for submissions, you are welcome to contact us should you feel like, you need more clarity or documents from the city side. And also you're welcome to, refer to other documents, not just what we have uploaded there.
Great, thanks,
Thank you.
Matimba.
Thank you.
Did that answer your question? Any other comments on that, or should we move to some others?
I had thought material was like actual material to construct with, but I understand now that it's more about the policies and regulations. But I will go
Yeah,
through those so I can have a better understanding. Thank you.
yeah, definitely. And also worth noting when Matimba showed the site page, you will have seen that there's like a question box. So if you do have any questions that come up later, you can email it to us and that'll get sent directly to me and Matimba, so we're able to respond to any questions that come up later as well. Great. I saw that someone was asking about the climate action plan. So I believe that is available in the data room. Matimba, correct me if I'm wrong, but I see that it has also been shared again in the chat. So please consult that that link. I can't speak anymore. Sorry. Friday. It's it's Friday. Please do take a look at the climate action plan because the city has outlined some very clear climate targets, and that's definitely something that we'll be looking at in your projects, how well you've kind of understood the city's expectations and, you know, their overarching targets and how you've integrated them into your projects and solutions. I know that we also have a question from someone regarding a site visit. As far as I'm aware, there is no site visit planned. But I will defer to the city on this, whether that's something that could be a possibility.
Okay, so regarding the site visit, I think maybe we'll have to plan for that because so at the moment we didn't have that as part of our scope, but it's something that we can arrange so that we go on a site visit with the participants, so they can get the feel of the site and also familiarize themselves with the surroundings and the projects that the city is working on in the area and the surroundings. So
Great,
yeah.
thanks, Matimba. I see that someone else has raised their hand, so I'm going to invite you to unmute if that's possible.
Yeah, am I audible?
Yes, you are. Hi.
Hi, my name is Tlhalefa Mogatusi. The question that I have is that with the proposed site that we are supposed to come up with the design ideas to, it's on the north of the Gautrain station. Are we allowed to somewhat create or come up with a proposal on how we can link the southern side of the Marlboro Gautrain station to that site? Because but like I would love to know the design parameters that we have, because if it is said that the site is only on the northern side, how are we linking the two sides? Because we don't want, well, in my head, it wouldn't be nice to create this beautiful new green space on the north of Gautrain station, whereas the people of Alexandra on the other side cannot commute nor communicate with that side. Are we allowed to come up with design interventions under the Gautrain bridge? Because I saw that that piece of land is owned by the city of Johannesburg. It's not privately owned. Are we allowed to come up with design interventions within that space that is owned by the city of Johannesburg, right adjacent to our given site?
Yes, thanks, Tlhalefa. So hence the title of the site is Marlboro and immediate surrounds. So that means that we we have to design something that speaks to the surroundings, including the Gautrain station, and also Alex to the south of the station. As well as sites or neighborhoods such as Kelvin, Sutseitla, and even Limbro Park as well, because it's an economic hub as well. Thanks.
All right, thank you.
Great, thank you so much. I see that someone else has got their hand up, so I'm going to invite them to unmute themselves as well. Rudy, is it? I have granted you access to speak, so you just need to unmute yourself if possible. Or we can come back to you. Oh, hello.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes, we can hear you.
sorry about that, ma'am. I'm connected from my phone, and I'm from the University of Johannesburg, so I just stepped out. I'm a bit of a noisy area. So I missed a little bit of the presentation. Of course, my counterpart on your side, Matimba Nobantu Licia, invited me to be part of this. Unfortunately, I missed a little bit of the part. I think this is a fascinating initiative, and I think our students will benefit immensely from it. I just missed, there is a deadline. Is there still chance for our students, firstly, to participate? I heard about 3 months, but when you spoke, Ellie, I heard about 3 weeks. So is this really an initiative where students present proposals for the site that has been identified? That's number one. And then will it be possible? I think it will be very useful if we can have the very same chat like this, particularly targeted at our students. And I will then spread the word inside so that the relevant students can get. I'm sorry, I would have shared it with along, but I was not 100% sure. But now that I've heard the background and the gist, I think this could be an immense opportunity for our students. So I want to know 2 things, the deadline timelines and whether you guys will be amenable to do the same session like this for our students. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks, Rudy. I'm happy to take the question on the timeline. So I'm just going to share my screen once more. If it will load, maybe it won't. Okay, perfect. So yes, you might have heard me say 3 weeks because I'm referring to the registration deadline, which is on the 21st of March. So this is kind of phase 1, where basically we just need teams to tell us, well, basically that they're participating and who is in the team. So it's kind of phase 1, enter the competition. But then teams have until the 20th of June to actually work on their project and enter it in the competition. So yeah, they have time basically to work on their projects in, in your classes and in your course. But just note that, yeah, 21st of March is to kind of enter the competition and tell us your team, if that's clear.
Yes, it sounds okay. When you say registration, does that mean that the students will have to register on the competition? Is that what you say?
Yes, so we require each team. So 1 person per team. So only 1 person needs to do it and fill out the form online on behalf of their team. But they basically just need to, 1 person per team to enter, tell us who's in their team so we can note it internally. And yes, then they can enter phase 2 and actually submit their project.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure whether there will be time. If the deadline is the 21st of March, will you guys have time maybe to do something late next week, Friday week, by any chance?
To do a specific presentation to your university?
Yes. Yes, correct.
So we're more than happy to do that. We're open to doing, well, at least from the C40 side, we can do presentations to university. Happy to follow up with you directly if you just share with me your email address and we can discuss this further offline.
Awesome, will do. Thank you so much.
No worries at all. Great. So I'm just going to stop sharing my screen now. I see time. We've got about 5 minutes or so, but I know that we've had a few questions in the Q&A box. So someone had asked, I would like to get more clarification on the site size. and what the exact boundaries are. Matimba, do you wanna take this one? They're referring to an image that they've seen on the C40 website in regard to the site boundary.
Let's see if I can present my, try share screen. Are you able to see my screen?
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay, so basically the site that's owned by the city is this. And a portion there under the bridge. So in extent, it's a 14-hectare site.
Yes, so you're referring to, is that the blue boundary?
Yes, the blue boundary.
Yeah, the blue boundary. Okay, great. So I hope that answers your question, but please do let us know if something's unclear regarding that. Another question in the chat we had, what is the maximum number of participants in a group? There is no maximum number, which sounds a bit crazy, but I would just invite you to, there's no official maximum, but to think about, minimum. So the minimum is 2 people. So minimum 2, maximum, there is no maximum. In terms of prizes, would the city consider monetary or bursary prizes? So as part of the competition, we cannot offer monetary prizes, but they would like to have more details about the prizes that the city is offering as a way to kind of be motivated to enter the competition. Matimba, will pass over to you on that. I know we discussed, the opportunity for students to present their work, but are there any other kind of prizes, for example? How could their ideas be taken forward by the city?
Yes, definitely. On the city side, what we're looking for is, tangible solutions to, the site. And you've seen that the site at the moment is vacant. So basically, we're looking at designs that, will respond to climate change and how that, links to the TOD concept. So basically, in terms of awards and, prizes, so on the city side, it's a consideration for implementation. And then also exhibitions, like they show their work to city officials and C40, facilitators. Monetary value, yeah, we haven't planned that.
I didn't see you the side of the counter. I'm only seeing you now.
Rudy, I think that is. Could you please mute? There we go. Okay, great. Thanks, Matimba. I see time. So we've got just 3 minutes left. I see a couple people have got their hands up. So we'll take those questions. And then if there are any other questions, please type them in the Q&A so then I can also reply to you over message. So, okay, I'm going to invite someone with a question to unmute themselves. Hello.
Hi, good afternoon. How are you?
Good,
well,
thanks.
thank you.
Okay, great. This question is directed to Mr. Matimba. So, as I'm aware, Mr. Matimba, that the city of Johannesburg does have a Joburg Youth Climate Action Plan. So, perhaps as a request, after students have registered for the competition, can you just perhaps have more representation from the youth coordinators who are leading the process of the Joburg Y Cap, so that at least we can have like a perspective on the CAP and also the climate ambitions that they had as students and young people from the city of Johannesburg, which will help us to get a better perspective. Great, thank you.
Yeah, okay. Cool. Sure, we will definitely do that. I don't know if Zukis is still part of the conversation, that maybe he can, give us an overview of, like the programs that they've been working on with C40, and like responding to the infrastructural and environmental elements and components in the surrounding areas. Zogisi, you there? Okay, seems like, yeah, because I think I saw his hand earlier on, so I thought maybe you wanted to speak to like the projects that they're working on with C40 cities, but that's fine.
Okay, great. But yeah, we're happy to send a follow-up to that question, or if you could email that to us. So on the website, you can click on the page that's like Ask Us a Question. And basically, if you have got a question that hasn't been answered today, please do send us that, and we can take the time to reply to you and send any materials as well. Great. Okay, I am going to invite, we've got someone else with their hand up. If you could please unmute yourself and ask your question, and then I think that might be the final question we have time for today. I have granted you access to unmute your mic, so you would just need to unmute your microphone to ask a question.
Oh, my sincere apologies. I think it was a mistake. Sorry about that.
Oh, no, don't worry at all. No problems. Okay, maybe final question then, Matimba. We had one in the chat. It was thanking us, which is lovely. Thank you. So obviously this is a competition and the expectations from the city are clear. What is the scope for collaboration with other groups in the medium term? So do you mean by that when developing your project, or do you mean after you've submitted your project? I think in terms of collaborating with other teams, that's something that we really, encourage, like especially if you're working on this in university and you've got different groups. We would love, different teams to work together. We also have for after the submission and taking the project forward. Okay, so kind of, after you've entered the competition and we've reviewed the project, what's the scope kind of in terms of next steps and how you can keep working on this? Matimba, I'm gonna pass that one over to you. I know it's challenging to say at this moment. Obviously, we can't guarantee that any of the projects will be implemented, but I know that the city is really keen to be able to take some of the solutions and the designs that you've come up with. So I invite Matimba to comment further on that.
Yeah, thanks, Ellie. I saw a question about, like possible collaborations after the competition. So I've been in contact with, vet staff. So basically what they said, or what they're working on at the moment, is that it's a project that cover our study area and beyond. So so as the city, I feel like it's something that we can work on beyond the competition, because if it's something that we can do or work on and implement, so yeah, there is a higher chance for collaborating further.
Okay, amazing. Thanks, Matimba. So maybe no definite answers right now, but definitely something that we're having conversations about, and we'll be able to give more clarity in the process. But definitely I can say from both C40 and the city side, there is a real, intention to, consider these ideas and take them forward in the next steps, but we just don't have complete clarity on what format that would look like. I hope that answers your questions. I think we're going to wrap up now. So just a note that I will send this recording and any resources that we mentioned today in a follow-up email to everyone that registered to attend. Please do get in touch with me if you would like to arrange a specific presentation to your university. That's something we can definitely do. It'll largely be kind of the content that we covered today. So you are also welcome to kind of share this recording with students, etc. But yeah, please do contact me if you'd like to arrange a specific presentation. I think that is everything. I hope everything was clear. So exciting to see so many of you really engaged, and yeah, from definitely both on the C40 side and the city side, we're really excited about this project. Really, the first time we've had the city participating in this competition, and it's great to see, such a high level of interest. So yeah, super excited for the next steps. Please look out for an email from me with those follow-up materials. And yeah, Matimba, did you want to say any final words, or shall we wrap up?
Yeah, no, I think I'm covered. Just to thank everyone who came and participated in this. So we're looking forward to the project and seeing how that will further shape our cities in going forward, and then looking at how we address the issue of climate change and other developmental challenges. Thank you.
Amazing. Great. Thanks so much, everyone. And yeah, hopefully see lots of you entering the competition. All right. Have a great Friday. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.